This segment is sponsored by Richmond Pediatric Dentistry and Orthodontics.
This month, the Boys to Men Mentoring Network of Virginia is celebrating 10 years. For the last decade, they've been supporting boys at a critical time in their lives.
4 years ago, when he was in the 8th grade, Ross Rakey was struggling with social anxiety. That's when a friend recommended Boys to Men Mentoring Network of Virginia.
So I thought, hey, why not give it a shot? And it was not what I expected when I first joined. I didn't know it was going to be a circle where you open up about your feelings and such. But as I got into it, I felt a connection, felt something of a connection with the others.
Ross is just one of about 1,200 young men ages 12 to 17 who's found encouragement in the group's circles over the last 10 years. Those circles are a safe space for expression, acceptance, and support.
As I struggled to fit in with others and making friends, so I didn't know how to fit in with the others, and I was able to open that up in the circles, talk about my feelings, what I thought of it.
Relationships are such a huge part of this and what make it successful. What are some of the relationships that you've been able to develop through the program?
Relationships that I've been able to develop was with the mentors and the other boys in the circle. I could talk to them about certain topics that I wasn't comfortable talking around my parents.
Daquan Reinhardt gives back by serving as a mentor.
You can have family members, you can have, clergy, you can have all these different people in your environment, but the comfort level is something about that tender age of 12 to 17 where you're creating your own identity and you're trying to figure out who you are. And sometimes you just don't trust. And God forbid, if you're ever hit with a traumatic situation, you may not have the, tools or wherewithal to actually, express what it is that you feel.
These positive male role models help these young men figure out what kind of adult men they want to be.
How we have defined men in society has to be somewhat remolded, right? And by remolding, meaning that there's a certain stance of, when you think of man, you think of hard, firm, stern, and oftentimes, we that's what we project, that's all we know. But there is another side when it comes down to expression, being in tune, with feelings and just being compassionate. So it's my hope that, men who come through this program, young men who come through this program, they come in, that one, they give back in the same way in which they received, but that they also, follow through, just with their successes and their desires.
Steve Martin is the one who brought Boys to Men Mentoring Network to Virginia.
So I'm going to give it to you from the heart. It's about, I think, a lack of support and nurture for young men in our community. And I know I needed it when I was their age. And sometimes it was scary to go home to tell dad or mom something. And I didn't have that place where I could do it. Now, I was communicating with teenagers my own age, right? But I was getting 13-year-old advice. And I was getting 13-year-old instructions and from friends. However, I just wasn't. I didn't have that faith and trust in adults to share stuff. And I think this is what Boys to Men gives you.
How would you measure success?
When boys get real with you, when they sit back and all of a sudden they're awake and they're finding a language to tell you what's going on. And that's a success. That's, when a 13, 14, 15, 16-year-old young man's coming to a 61-year-old and saying, so I trust you and I want to tell you something. And that is unbelievable. I didn't do that until my late 30s.
By exploring their accountability, values, self-worth, emotions, and feelings in middle and high school, participants are setting themselves up for the future.
These young men come out, most raising families, starting jobs, starting their own careers. And so what we're doing is just giving them a different path, and maybe a path that they've seen from men in their life before, or with the absence of men, other community members that may be around them that are showing them a way to respond. We're trying to give them an alternative to that.
Celebrating 10 years, which is huge, but also looking to the future, what do you see in the years to come?
I see Boys to Men in every middle school in the state of Virginia. That's what I see, and I see impacting having more circles in more schools.
And you might be wondering if there is a similar program for women in our community. There is. It's called Girls to Women Virginia. We're going to share a link to both of these organizations so you can learn more on our show website, virginiathismorning.com.
If you have a story that is something to smile about, please share it with us. All you have to do is email us, virginiathismorning@wtvr.com.
And Richmond Pediatric Dentistry and Orthodontics has 6 locations right here in our area in the West End, Mechanicsville, and Midlothian. For all the information, call the team at 804-741-2226 or visit the website rpdo.com. Connect on Facebook and Instagram at Pediatric Dentist Richmond. Stay with us. Virginia This Morning will be back in less than 3 minutes.